In the winter dusk of the Eastern Front, snow fell softly on shattered fields, where battered tanks lay half-buried and exhausted soldiers whispered of retreat. In that silence, a solitary staff car wound through frozen roads, carrying a commander whose reputation was forged in defeat. Hermann Balck emerged, summoned into chaos, to lead battered units between crumbling flanks and advancing enemies. Could a single general, in the twilight of a collapsing army, turn the tide even when all seemed lost? If such stories of resilience, leadership, and human grit interest you, hit like and subscribe. Ahead lie many more compelling episodes from history. Hermann Georg Otto Balck was born on December 7, 1893, in Danzig-Langfurt, into a Prussian military family. His father, William Balck, was a general and respected writer on military theory. The discipline of soldiering surrounded Hermann from childhood. Strategy, duty, and endurance were part of everyday conversation. In 1913, he entered service as a cadet in the Hanover Jaeger Battalion No. 10. A year later, he attended the Hanover Military College. When the First World War broke out in August 1914, Balck returned to his regiment and was immediately sent to the Western Front. Over the following years, he fought across several theaters: France, the Balkans, Italy, and the Eastern Front. Wounded 7 times, Balck developed a reputation for personal courage and an instinct for maneuver. By 1918, he was commanding a machine gun company and had been awarded both classes of the Iron Cross. After the armistice, Germany's army was reduced to a fraction of its size by the Treaty of Versailles. Only a small cadre of officers was retained, and Balck was among them. The interwar years shaped him into a disciplined, pragmatic officer who preferred the field to the office. He turned down offers of staff work, believing a commander's duty was to be close to his soldiers, not behind a desk. These formative decades instilled in him an enduring belief: leadership is presence, and presence requires risk. As Germany rearmed in the 1930s, Balck's career entered a new phase. He rose to lieutenant colonel and gained experience with mechanized units, just as tanks were beginning to redefine warfare. His understanding of mobility and initiative suited the doctrines of the new Panzer Arm. When war returned to Europe in 1939, Balck's leadership was tested. During the 1940 campaign in France, he commanded a motorized rifle regiment in the 1st Panzer Division. His unit played a key role in the rapid advance through the Ardennes, securing crucial crossings over the Moselle River. For this operation, he received the Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross, one of the Wehrmacht's highest decorations. Balck's success in France revealed his ability to operate under fluid, fast-moving conditions. He avoided rigid orders, preferring initiative from subordinates and exploiting fleeting opportunities. This approach reflected the best traditions of maneuver warfare: adaptability, coordination, and speed. After the victory in France, Balck briefly returned to staff duty, but soon returned to the front, leading armored formations in the Balkans in 1941. There he again proved his tactical skill, coordinating fast advances over mountainous terrain. In 1942, Balck took command of the 11th Panzer Division on the Eastern Front. The war there was brutal, vast, and unpredictable, a contest not only of armies, but of endurance. His division soon faced encirclement and crisis near the Chir River. Through aggressive counterattacks and rapid redeployment, Balck managed to stabilize the front, halting superior Soviet forces. This action saved several German units from destruction and earned him promotion to general. From 1943 onward, Balck's commands became increasingly critical and increasingly desperate. He led corps and armies at moments when the German front lines were disintegrating. His leadership was repeatedly called upon to impose order where none remained. On the Eastern Front, his 48th Panzer Corps fought near Zhytomyr and Korosten, where he conducted mobile operations that briefly regained lost ground. In late 1943 and 1944, he led the 4th Panzer Army in Poland, attempting to slow the Soviet advance westward. His emphasis on tactical flexibility often allowed local success, but by then strategic defeat was inevitable. In September 1944, Balck was transferred to the Western Front, assuming command of Army Group G in Alsace. Facing superior Allied forces and dwindling reserves, he organized a stubborn defense, maneuvering units across the Vosges Mountains to delay the American advance. Even so, the situation was untenable. Later that year, he was sent to Hungary to command the 6th Army. There, he oversaw Operation Conrad, a series of desperate attempts to relieve encircled German and Hungarian forces in Budapest. His armored counter-offensives briefly penetrated deep into Soviet lines, but ultimately failed to break the siege. Balck's leadership, however, was again marked by his clarity of command and personal composure under pressure. By spring 1945, he was conducting a fighting retreat through Austria, determined to preserve as many lives as possible by surrendering to American rather than Soviet forces. On May 8, 1945, the day Germany capitulated, Hermann Balck surrendered his remaining troops to U.S. units in Styria. He had fought almost continuously for 6 years, commanding at every level from regiment to army group. After Germany's defeat, Balck was held in American captivity until 1947. The following year, a German court convicted him for ordering the execution of an artillery officer during the war, a man allegedly found drunk and derelict in his duties. Balck was sentenced to 3 years in prison, but served about half that time. In the post-war decades, he lived quietly, refusing invitations to participate in Allied debriefing programs or public discussions of his campaigns. He maintained that his duty had been strictly military, to command effectively within the scope of his responsibilities. Only in the 1970s did Balck agree to speak publicly, contributing to military history conferences and working with researchers studying operational command. His memoir, Order and Chaos, appeared in 1981, offering a measured reflection on leadership, discipline, and decision-making in the face of collapse. Balck died in November 1982 in Asperg, West Germany. He was 88. Among military historians, Hermann Balck remains a paradoxical figure, a brilliant tactician and organizer of mobile warfare, yet one whose career unfolded within a catastrophic conflict. He was neither a celebrated icon nor a notorious figure, but rather a professional soldier navigating the disintegration of an army and of an era. Hermann Balck's story is not one of triumph, but of persistence. He belonged to a generation of officers who had known 2 world wars and who, by the second, fought not for victory, but for survival, for order amid collapse. His personal motto, Order in Chaos, encapsulates both his method and his tragedy. His life raises questions that transcend his time. What does leadership mean when systems fail? How does one maintain coherence when the ground beneath shifts daily? Balck's insistence on leading from the front, on trusting initiative, and on preserving structure under pressure offers enduring lessons, not only for soldiers, but for anyone facing complexity and uncertainty. Yet history also reminds us that technical brilliance exists within moral frameworks, and that choices, even disciplined ones, carry weight beyond the battlefield. Balck's path invites reflection. How far can individual mastery separate itself from the causes it serves? Perhaps the lasting lesson lies not in his victories, but in his endurance, the human capacity to act with clarity when all else falls away. If you liked this story, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, so you won't miss the next journey into the echoes of history.